Interview is not the only movie about North Korea getting scrapped after the major hack of Sony Pictures. A project involving the actor Steve Carell has reportedly been shelved. The working title was said to be Pyongyang, which is the North Korean capital. Carell tweeted, quote, "Sad day for creative expression," using the hashtag Fear Eats the Soul. The tweet was shared 11,000 times. The studio reportedly behind the project, New Regency, has not commented. Senior media correspondent Brian Stelter joins me now live from CNN, New York. And Brian, how did Sony come to this decision, and how real was the threat of an attack on cinemas showing this film?
Well, there was no credible evidence of plans for any attack at any theater. And frankly, I think it was probably more dangerous to drive to the theater than it would have been to actually go and watch a movie. But there were understandable concerns among theater owners, because after all, if you're sitting in the back of a dark movie theater, the last thing you want to be thinking about is the possibility of some sort of crime happening. You just want to enjoy what's on the screen. So one by one yesterday, we saw major American theater owners back away from the movie and say, sorry, we're not going to air it on our screens. That led Sony to basically have no choice but to go ahead and cancel the movie altogether. And now we know Sony also not planning to release it online either. You know, they could have maybe sold it online via video on demand, via iTunes, Netflix, something. My sense, though, is that there weren't really many companies willing to help Sony do that. I think they might have been concerned about being hacked as well. So Sony's saying it's not going to come out online either.
And we understand that part of the film showed the North Korean leader's head exploding. Now, I can't imagine if Russia, if this was a film about President Putin, or if this was a film about President Obama, if America or Russia would approve. Has anyone suggested that perhaps Sony should have reconsidered this before production?
Absolutely, and I'm hearing a lot of that today, actually, from inside Sony Pictures. Not from the bosses, but from the rank and file, from the average workers who've had their social security numbers leaked and their private medical records leaked. Those people are saying, why was this movie greenlit? Why was it allowed to go forward? Now, I have to say, though, on the other hand, if Sony had decided preemptively, we're not going to risk it, this is too risky, you know, it's too big a danger to our studio, that would have been a form of self-censorship that I think a lot of people would have been understandably concerned by. So this is a very tough situation for a studio like Sony. Ultimately, this is about freedom of expression versus fear. And in this particular case, fear won out. And because you mentioned Steve Carell in his film, let me read you the tweet he posted yesterday afternoon. He wrote, "Sad day for creative expression. Fear eats at the soul." And I think he was talking about both the interview as well as the project that he's no longer going to be doing.
And of course, this hack did not only impact Sony's reputation, but also its bottom line. What sort of money are we talking?
I think when all is said and done, and we won't know this for many months, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of damage to Sony Pictures. Now, a part of that is the movie. The budget was about $44 million, but that's only the beginning of it. It's going to cost Sony a lot of money to recover, to get its computer systems back online as it's doing now, and to provide identity theft protection to its employees. Some of the costs are probably unknowable, and that's why this is such a wake-up call to other movie studios, to other media companies, including our parent company, Time Warner, and to other companies all around the world.
All right, Brian Stelter in New York, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Now, many of Hollywood's top celebrities took to social media, as Brian just mentioned, to express their frustration over Sony's decision on the interview. Actor Rob Lowe tweeted, "Saw Seth Rogen at JFK. Both of us have never seen or heard anything like this. Hollywood has done Neville Chamberlain proud today." Talk show host Jimmy Kimmel calls it an un-American act of cowardice that validates terrorist actions and sets a terrifying precedent. And from actress Mia Farrow, Sony is a disgrace, sickening. Actor Steve Carell simply tweeted this picture of Charlie Chaplin from the 1941 film The Great Dictator, which lampooned Hitler. And director Michael Moore tweets, "Dear Sony hackers, now that you run Hollywood, I'd also like less romantic comedies, fewer Michael Bay movies, and no more Transformers." At least he's having a laugh. Now, there's excitement in Cuba over news that US relations are finally changing. Up next, we'll go live to Havana for more reaction to this historic announcement.